As mentioned in the previous question, the police department consumes roughly half of the town budget. While an audit of the department's expenditures is usually considered a normal fiscal method of checks and balances, it has generated much controversy among the current council members as well as town residents. Please explain your reasons for opposing or supporting an audit of the police department.
Well, I would say before I'd ever spend money on an audit for a police department, I personally want to dig in to find out just what it is that's the main elements of cost. What are we doing about that side of the equation? I haven't heard anyone say, gee, maybe we could save a buck here or a buck there and balance the needs for our pay and other items. I would not be opposed because it appears for an outside study, because it appears as if people are more enamored having an outsider say something about your business and how you should structure it to solve the problem. So before I went there, I would want to do a whole lot of homework myself, and I think the council should then decide whether there's a true value of getting an outside opinion before I'd spend the money.
And my take is, again, I'm not a big fan of studies because policing really is a community flavor. I mean, we all know people in the city of Tucson will pay an arm and a leg that when they had a burglary or a robbery, that they would actually pay an incredible amount of money, more than what we're paying now. So again, the mandate that we have, we set the policy. Our policy with the chief of police is be the safest community in the state of Arizona. He is. So who are we to tell him, you know what, you can't have one more police beat officer, you got to get rid of one more management staff. Again, take that $12 million number and divide it by 41,011, and you'll come up with that number that you individually pay per year. It's under $300. And so when the chief of police tells me he wants something, there's a cost-benefit analysis that goes through that. These guys are not untouched. They got to go through the town manager. We see all the numbers in the budget. We get to ask the questions. So the implication that the chief of police and his public safety group just runs amok without any checks and balances couldn't be further from the truth.
So, yes or no, would you support an audit?
I would not support an audit because
Yes
they're the
or
best
no?
at what they do.
Okay, thank you.
I also would not support an audit. The loudest rhetoric you hear against too many cops when we don't have any crime. I'll just give you one instance. I dealt with a gentleman during when I was running door to door in my first political campaign, and he used that argument. I said, are you familiar with the CAT squad? He said, no, what's that? 6 undercover officers that keep crime from reaching Oro Valley. You never hear about it because they're busting them outside our city limits. Our police department is run by Danny Sharp, award-winning police chief, and the loudest voices who say we don't need so many cops are the same people who don't bother to go to Danny Sharp's presentations of what community policing is, and they don't go and investigate what the police department does. I think we need to give these folks a good close look, and you'll find out why they are being heralded in all the ways they are.
I would not invest town funds in an audit of the police department. I'm just going to tell you, I told you I deal with data. The total budget for the town is $107 million. $12 million is not 50% of it. We have 3 funds. We have the water fund, we have the road fund, and we have a general fund. Now, the police department happens to be 50% of the general fund, and their budget went up last year for a simple reason. We have capital improvement needs that are going to be done. We need to have a new evidence facility. The money for that has been put into the police budget. When they are going to get grants from the state or from the federal people for either equipment or programs or officer salaries, that has to be put into the budget. You have to report it as an expense, and you also have to report it as an income. So that's why the police budget and all department budgets tend to fluctuate. It depends on how much capital program improvements they're going to do, and it's not all just salaries. However, I will say, you have to tell me what you're willing to give up if we're going to cut the police department. What service are you willing to give up?
No, I would not support an audit. We audit the police department continuously. We audit the police department at every election cycle, not election cycle, every budget cycle. There's no question. They don't run amok. You know, I think it was Lou or Mary hit it. There are 3 different funds here. If you pick out what the total is, you can make that number look like anything you want to serve your political purposes. Let's get back to the reality of this. What it cost us to have this public safety department that we have, that's the best of my knowledge, and from what I hear from people, including the surveys, is a hell of a lot less than my cable bill. And I'm not, I'd give up my cable long before I'd give up my police department. Thank you.
Well, there's audits and there's audits. In business redesign, what you do is if you're concerned about trying to find some cost savings, you put together a team of the police officers and let them try to analyze and see if they can identify areas within their operation where they don't feel are necessary and can help cut some of the cost. I'm not talking about salary decreases or interfering with their safety on the road or our safety as citizens. But it's amazing when you put the people who are out there in the job every day, they see areas where they can contribute to cost savings for the town. And that would be a good first step if in fact there are some cost savings to be had.